Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about autumn tarot spreads. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you love the podcast and want to support it further, you can check out the Everyday Tarot Patreon family. Some of the benefits include getting an individual card pulled for you once a month live on the podcast, or if you'd like to support the podcast even further, you can get a one-time individual 5-card reading from me, in addition to all the other benefits if you join the Witch Bitch level on the Patreon. I recently recorded an hour-long video episode for the new moon that we just welcomed in on October 21st, 2025. If you missed the live, you can check out the New Moon Collective Tarot Reading replay. I'll have it linked in the show notes below. And they are about an hour-long video episodes where this time I did a whole burnout tarot spread. So if you're feeling burnout right now, or you're in the autumnal vibes of, at least in the northern hemisphere, where we are in autumn, we're in the southern hemisphere as you're entering spring, you can check out that replay. As a bonus for the Queer Joy Summit that just wrapped up last week, I created a Queer Coven spooky tarot spread, and I wanted to give you all a chance to grab it, even if you weren't part of the summit. So it is a Halloween and queer themed 6-card spread that I created all on my own, in the shape of a bat. So you can go ahead and grab that. I'll have the link in the show notes as well. I was recently on Kayla Moore's Connected Pleasure podcast. You can check out my episode of Kayla's podcast where we talked all about living by the body, dreaming of land, and weaving the future. And you can check out Kayla at connectedpleasurecoaching.com or check out other episodes of her podcast at Connected Pleasure Podcast on the Captivate platform. I also had Kayla on my podcast, but I am getting guests lined up for the podcast. So if you're interested or know someone that might be a good fit that wants to chat on my tarot podcast about tarot, you can fill out my form to be a guest on the podcast. I am trying to get a whole season of guests fleshed out. So I have a couple guests that I've already recorded with, but I would like to get some more so I can have a full 13 episode season. So either put yourself in or send it to anyone you know who might be a good fit. If you want to work more directly with me and maybe you don't live local, I'm going to be kicking off my Tarot for Transformation workshops next year, starting in January 2026. So we're going to deep dive the first 12 of the major arcana cards, going one per month. So a true deep dive. I'll be doing like a 2 to 3 hour workshop each month to embody the archetypes and learn how to transform ourselves through the tarot. How do we bring these tarot cards into our daily routines, into our goals we set for the month, into how we view our time and the structure, and all things like that. So I'm so excited for that, and you can check out the full details at the link in the show notes. If you don't already know, I am a sex and relationships therapist and coach, seeing individual and relational clients virtually all over from my home office. So I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you'd like to work with someone that doesn't judge you, is witchy just like you, and helps you learn how to deal with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex, head to my website and book a free consultation now to start your journey. You may have heard me talk about my tarot card creation workshop, and if you're like, Camille, I don't think I have any art skills, how am I going to make my own tarot cards? No worries. You can learn how to craft your own tarot cards with collage, which is the method that I like to use. So you can get my full workshop, which has an hour-long recording with my step-by-step method, examples of the tarot cards I've created, and journaling questions, and a PDF to walk you all through it for just $33. So the link is in the show notes to purchase that now, and you'll have that forever, and then can create your own tarot deck eventually. I think I have about 30 cards so far in the deck that I've been making, slowly crafting over time. So it's a very fun process and a great thing to do in the cooler, darker months of the year. All right. If you're interested in getting my 2025 5-card tarot spread that I created just for you, my lovely listeners, at the beginning of the year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. You'll get that free PDF. My weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life. And if you're local and want to meet me in person, you can check out my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group to get all of the notifications for upcoming events. So the upcoming events I have right now for the rest of 2025 are I am celebrating the full moon by holding full moon women's circles for the rest of 2025 with my colleague Izzy. You can join us under the glow of the full moon for an evening of connection, reflection, and ritual. So generally it's like a 90-minute workshop or celebration ritual. We meet together at Thresholds Collective in their yoga studio space, which is lovely. So we have usually we get an astrological update, talk about the full moon and kind of the properties of it that Izzy does. I usually do a short meditation for us to kind of ground us in our practice. And then we get into doing I usually do a collective tarot reading, and then we generally sit around and all pull individual cards for ourselves on a specific prompt. And then we love to share with each other and do some journaling to see what we gained from the tarot, the knowledge. Then we usually move into some sort of embodiment practice. Last time we did some freeform dancing. We've also done sometimes restorative yoga postures or other things, depends on the energy of the full moon. And then we generally end with some, again, reflection and some writing down of things we're either manifesting or releasing. And then we do a ritual burning in my mini cauldron that I bring. We all go outside and kind of burn our papers with what we are releasing or manifesting, again, depending on the new moon energy. And then we sort of, have final reflections with each other, and that's how we end. So it's a lovely space, and we do lots of tarot during it. So if you're missing my, social tarot meetups or the crafting right now as I get settled in my new location, you can join us at our full moon circles. So the next ones coming up will be November 2nd and December 7th. So the tickets are already up for those. So you can go ahead and grab those now, get it on your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you there. And finally, you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, which is also where you can find the images of the cards I pull for each episode. All right, so welcome to season 17, where I'm talking about tarot spreads that are seasonal tarot spreads for autumn. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you can check those out. I did season 5 was all about tarot spreads, but I did a wide variety of them. A lot of the classic ones, did a Celtic cross, did a past, present, future, different things there. So that was very fun. And then this season, I'm going to do a bit more seasonal spreads for autumn. And that's what we're going to get into. So you can check out those seasons. All right. So like I said, we are in season 17 now, where I'm taking you through some autumn tarot spreads. And today I'm going to be doing an autumn leaves tarot spread. I found this one on incandescenttarot.com, their blog about autumn leaves. So I'll have the image on my website so you can see the shape of the spread. And this is a 5-card spread, and it's sort of in a V formation with 1 and 5 cards at the top and 3 in the middle at the bottom. So like I said, a V, so it goes 1, 2, 3 on the left, and then 4, 5 up on the right, with the 3 being in the middle. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, I'm gonna grab a different deck. I'm not totally sure why, but the deck that's calling to me today is the Sacerdote Tarot deck by Stasia Burrington. This was my first deck, so I, of course, love it and is cherished, and it has a lot of good energy about it. It is a visibly darker deck. It has the death moth, the Luna moth on the back, and the back of the cards are black and red with some gray. The inside of the box is red, and the theme of it is sort of a mix of Japanese and Pacific Northwest imagery and kind of vibe to it. And I believe, so I'll link to Stasia Burrington's website where you can buy the deck. I believe she just released a new deck. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I think I saw it on her Instagram. Okay, yeah, so she has a Kickstarter right now that launched on October 15th to get the Yukika Tarot. It's a very different imagery, a lot more colorful, I would say, but yeah, you can check that out. She's at stasiaburringtonart.com, or her Instagram is just Stasia Burrington, and again, I'll have it linked in the show notes if you want to check it out. But yeah, if you like the look of this deck, she has a new one out that you can get on Kickstarter, and I love this deck, so I'm a fan of the one that I have right now, so I'm sure this next one is lovely as well. Okay, so I'll do one more shuffle and then we'll get into the spread. Okay, so again, if you want to do the spread at home, I'll have the image and the blog linked in the show notes so that you can go ahead and grab it as well. If you follow me on Instagram, we'll post the image of the spread there of the prompts and then also of the cards I pulled. All right, so generally when there's a multi-card spread, I lay them all out first face down and then I flip them as we go through the prompts. So I'm gonna lay out the 5 cards again in a V formation, with the 3 being at the bottom at the middle. All right, so for the first card, the prompt is a past experience or memory you are ready to let go of. All right, so interesting. I pulled the 9 of Swords in reverse. And the imagery on this one is someone holding their head almost as if they have a headache or something, and then all of these swords crisscrossed at the bottom of the card, and there's this pink kind of flurry energy of the card. And I did pull it in reverse, so 9 of Swords, I would generally look at this and be ooh, overthinking, a literal headache, feeling challenge or kind of a strife, but we are in reverse, so we'll just kind of have to see what that reversal definition looks like. Okay, so again, this is the 9 of Swords. So this one does have reversal definitions in this deck. So I'll read the upright and then we'll read the reversal to see what we think most of. So again, this is the prompt is a past experience or memory you're ready to let go of. Angst, stress, or overthinking. Decisions, worry. This is a super angsty card full of emotional turmoil and unhappiness, stress, and insomnia. Running over the past, endlessly replaying regret, or playing out the infinite variations of an uncertain future reaches a point where it does not serve you. Can you get out of your head and more into your body? Anxiety, despair, having difficulty juggling all of your thoughts, overwhelm, guilt, a card of caution. This card is a reminder that a lot of your suffering is intellectually rooted. So in reverse, it says it's the same meaning as the upright, only more severe, and alternately, you may be working on getting out of this suffering. So yeah, I think because the prompt was a past experience or memory you're ready to let go of, we are ready to let go of overthinking, angst, and stress. I definitely resonate with this as someone that loves to live in the mental plane of overthinking and planning and all types of things. But this is telling us, right, can you get out of your head and more in your body? And Swords are associated with air element, and as an Aquarius air sign, as my sun sign, I love, again, I've historically lived in the mental plane, in the place of the airiness of, again, like the dreamings, but also sometimes in the like disassociative state. So this is telling me, right, like, get out of your head and into your body. So like somatic exercises. I know for me, it's going to be like walking around my property and doing observations. I was just talking to a friend last night who specializes in burnout, and we were talking about that I'm feeling a bit burned out right now. If you listened to my new moon collective tarot spread that I just did earlier this week on the 21st, and if you haven't, it's linked in the show notes if you want to view it. I do a video episode where I do like an hour-long collective reading every new moon. And so if you check that out, you will see that I did a burnout tarot spread. So this is definitely on that theme. So again, just a reminder that a lot of your suffering is intellectually rooted. So right, we're working on getting out of this suffering. We're ready to let go, which sounds great to me. Okay, so for prompt number 2, it says a behavior to retire. Okay, I'm gonna flip this one over. Ooh, we got death. Okay, interesting. So death generally is about like transformation, right? Perhaps letting go of something. And it does say this is a behavior to retire. So that's kind of interesting. So here, and I did pull it upright. So it says this is a card of letting go. The death card is one of major transformation, rarely representing a literal death. The card does suggest an ending, a new beginning, and the opportunity for huge growth and transcendence. Loss, sadness, and grief are present, and goodbyes and letting go may be necessary. The ending here may signify the end of a relationship, an interest, or an old way of thinking. There's huge potential here for increased self-awareness, and clearing out of the old is necessary in making space for the new, right? So something is ending, right? Where again, things have to end in order for there to be new beginnings and growth. I know for me, again, there's certain things that come to mind of sort of grieving, maybe a type of thing I used to think that was going to work, or like this type of business I was going to have. But I'm also, right, there's an opportunity for growth and new beginnings with, I just signed up. I've just started the paperwork to have like a new business that is going to have all of my like witchy offerings all under that business. And so, yeah, to me, I'm like, ooh, this is that growth and transcendence. Like, right, I'm grieving again, maybe what I thought my old business was going to be, or my therapy practice that was going to be like all encompassing of all these different things. And actually, it's okay that I'm going to have 2 different businesses, and I'll keep the therapy in one, which will be lovely and have that held in a container. But I also get to start this new business that, right, and where I'm kind of getting out of this old way of thinking. I used to think that therapy was going to be like, okay, that's it. That's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And now I'm like, yeah, I like it, but I don't want to just do that. It's very intensive emotionally, physically, and just like doing one-on-one anything all the time. Like we just max out on the amount of hours that you want to spend doing that. So I've loved, right, doing this podcast and having witchy offerings and kicking off workshops for next year. And so I'm excited to kind of have that officially in this new business. And so, yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. So there's a quote from Rumi that says, "Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop," which is perfect because we are doing an autumn leaves tarot spread. Okay, so let's go into card 3 with the prompt of a seed for something new. And I pulled the 3 of Pentacles, which is super interesting. It has like a very like Marvel like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like there's 3 stars, and they like, it looks like a literal like superhero card. I don't know if I'm being clear about that, but again, there's like 3 stars. They're like in this triangle pattern, and then there's 3 hands over it. And the 3 of Pentacles is all about teamwork, cooperation, and communication. So this card illustrates the value of working together. Communication is key in setting expectations, organizing resources, and following a schedule and completing projects. I illustrated this card with a blueprint-like model of a pyramid with the hands of 3 separate people taking part in the building of an enterprise with substance. Specializing and combining forces with other experts can result in an outcome that is more than the sum of its creator's contributions. So I love this. So, right, your something new is cooperation, right? Working with other people, collaborating, teamwork, right? And communication. So, right, communication is key to setting expectations, organizing resources, and following a schedule. So maybe there's something in your life where you've already started or you're thinking about starting this collaborative effort. I know for me, again, maybe I'll tease it for you listeners, but I'm going to be doing a podcast with 2 of my colleagues and friends, Doris and Izzy, if you've heard me talk about them, kicking off next January, where we're not totally sure on all the details yet, but probably have 2 episodes a month and talk all about healthcare industry, health and wellness, and a lot of like the pitfalls or different things that we see in that system. And then we're going to have an aspect that's all about talking about how to change that system or get out of it or replenish ourselves or restore our things, work in community and collaboration. So that when I saw this card, I was like, oh yeah, that's what that's about. There's going to be 3 of us. We're working together. We've already been kind of dreaming up different topics and ways of formatting the podcast. We have to solidify the name and kind of some more of the logistics. But I'm very excited to be doing that next year. So when I have more details, I will link you in the show notes to where to find that. But for now, you can just be percolating on that excitement. All right, so for card 4, the prompt is a way to care for yourself and stay cozy. Love that. Ooh, interesting. 8 of Cups, which in this deck literally has someone, they're like naked and then they have their head upside down and they're at the top of the card, and then they're like cutting, they have giant scissors that they're cutting off like a ton of their hair, which is like such a metaphorical image. So 8 of Cups. Okay, so a way to care for yourself and stay cozy. It says exhaustion, disappointment, and release. This card indicates feelings of emotional exhaustion, burnout, abandonment, and withdrawal. I told you, the burnout was the topic right now. It could mean the start of a journey of discovery spurred by overextending yourself. There may be a need to let go of material possessions to seek deeper meaning. You might be giving too much and not getting enough in return. Feeling tired and listless, it may be time to let go and abandon a hopeless situation or any old ideas that are dragging you down. I find that in the past, in times of stress, I cut my hair, she says. I feel like I'm actually disposing of the past, the extra weight, the dry ends, the old me. This is akin to shedding your skin to make room for new growth, for reinvention, and a feeling of lightness, right? So when we think about the prompt of a way to care for yourself and stay cozy, right? It's letting go. Again, this is an autumn leaves tarot spread. The leaves fall in the autumn. I know on my property, we have some deciduous trees and then we have some evergreen trees. And most of the deciduous trees have dropped their leaves at this point. And so it's looking very green outside my window and a lot less colorful. There's still some that are holding on, some like bushes and things that have some reds and a little bit of color left, but a lot of the taller trees, because of the wind and the density, they've already lost all their leaves. So again, yeah, maybe there's something in your life that you need to let go of, or kind of, right, metaphorically cut your hair off, right, of like cutting off the old you or the dry ends, the old you, the extra weight, and like shedding our skin, right, to think of like what snakes do, where they shed their skin and then they like have new scales underneath to make room for new growth, reinvention, and a feeling of lightness. So, right, in order for us to stay cozy, it's saying we actually have to let go of some things in order to feel that warmth and intention for new growth and rejuvenation. All right, and card number 5, the final card, is what will give you warmth and energy, something to cherish and explore. And I pulled the Empress in reverse, which is interesting. I don't immediately know what that's about off the top of my head. So the Empress upright is Demeter or Freya. The Empress is a mother figure, strong, protective, nurturing, powerful. She is a giver and creator, abundant in health, sensuality, and material prosperity, satisfaction, and delight. She represents love, lust, sexuality, pleasure, and fertility. She is caring and compassionate and fiercely loyal. She symbolizes nature, physical attraction, and comfort. The Empress is sensual and harmonious. She is commonly shown sitting on a throne within a field of wheat, wearing a starry crown and holding a scepter. The artist says, "My Empress sits directly in the field of wheat, the 12 stars in her crown representing dominance over the year. Instead of a scepter, she holds herself. She is sometimes associated with art, business, and germination of ideas." The mother card may literally mean a mother, and her children may be literal children, but your children may also be projects, ideas, or ways of being. This is a card of opportunity and gestation. So reversed, it says this card can indicate neglect, a lack of attention, affection, or protection, a creative block. It says alternately, the mother may be overprotective or overly possessive. And there's a quote at the bottom by Charles Eames that says, "Take your pleasure seriously." And I feel like that is the message of this card, right? So if we're thinking about the prompt of what will give you warmth and energy, right, it is like taking your pleasure seriously, not treating it as something that you only get to do or embrace once everything else you need to do is done. Pleasure is also a need, right? In order to find joy in this world, in order to continue our sort of hopefulness for the future or imagine, right? Again, the Empress is all about kind of like creation, creator, a giver, health, material prosperity, satisfaction, and delight. She symbolizes nature, attraction, and comfort, right? She is this sort of like being very grounded in the earth and the energy. So I think for me too, there's this aspect of this card that I'm thinking of like, what will give me warmth and energy, something to cherish and explore. I think of like the land that I just moved on to. I was just, again, talking to my friend about kind of being burned out, and we were sort of strategizing of what can I do to support myself through that space. And we were talking about, well, like, what if I'm going out and I'm just observing the property? I'm walking around, I'm kind of taking notes and journaling on things. It helps me to have kind of like a thing to do when I'm outside. Otherwise, I can tend to just like not spend a lot of time out there. And now that I don't really have a garden space, I have a lot of potential and a lot of wild areas of the property. That's what I'm thinking of right now. It's like, okay, what will give me warmth and energy? Actually connecting to nature and art and, right, thinking about like embracing the season that we're in, right? She's also all about the, like if we think of Demeter or Freya, like about the seasons of the year. And also this like germination of ideas and art and business, right? In order to do that, we have to feed ourselves with other types of energy. If you've ever read The Artist's Way by, I think, Julia Cameron, that is something she really talks about, is like you have to take yourself on like artist dates. You have to, right, as people that create a lot of things, ideas, or literally create, right, children or, right, homes or families, it doesn't just happen. It's like a thing you have to feed and cultivate, just like crops. So I think that's what this card to me is about. And we have to be careful that we're not getting into neglect or maybe putting a ton of effort into something, but then not getting a lot out of it, right? Like we might fall into this place of like, oh, it can be easy to neglect ourselves if we, again, kind of do the things we think we need to do before the things that feel like wants or joys or kind of that like life work balance. This is saying no, like part of life work balance is that you have to have things to look forward to in your life and not just your work, or you have to make time, creative time, chill out time, hang out time, nature time in order to have that be a part of your life. You have to be intentional. You have to take your pleasure seriously. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today on this episode of Everyday Tarot. Again, this was the Autumn Leaves spread. I'll have it linked in the show notes so that you can check it out. If you want to do the spread on your own as well. If you'd like to join me on the journey of using the tarot for transformation, you can sign up at the link in the show notes to get on the list for more info. Links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.